between reporting, which is its
It's a
first
primary
job,
duty.
its primary duty, but don't forget it has a duty of setting the agenda too,
agenda.
you know, for society,
For the good of
for
the
the good of society.
All right. All right, let's get into our second big story. On January the 19th, men of the Nigerian Police Force raided Premium Times head office in Abuja and arrested the newspaper's publisher. The publisher, Dapo Oloriyomi, was arrested alongside the paper's judiciary correspondent, Evelyn Okako.
Now, the officers said they were acting on a complaint filed by the Chief of Army Staff, Tukur Buratai. The arrest came days after Premium Times turned down the Army's demand to retract news stories about the Nigerian Army and its operations. They were released on bail that Thursday night and instructed to report at the FCT, the police command headquarters, by the following day before they were released.
Now, police spokesman Don Auna says the raid and arrest were carried out following complaints filed by lawyers for the Chief of Army Staff, Tukur Buratai.
All right, now that arrest sparked reactions in the media and triggered a war of words between the army and media. So let's take that reaction first before we get into the full discussion.
Whereby you have an established institution like the Nigerian Army that represents some value system of the society. If it is involved in anything, you owe it as a point of duty before you broadcast or before you publish to tell them that, look, we have this story. What do you have to say? Possibly the fact they have might not be right, or what they have is correct.
Where somebody or an institution that is affected by a story has one complaint or the other, the right thing to do is to resort to the instrumentality of the properly established authorities. I'm not talking of constituted authority now, to seek redress.
Wow. Well, that was a reaction to the arrest of the journalist last week. Now, there are more concerns regarding how the media has been reporting the activities of the Nigerian Army in the fight against insurgency.
Now, while the army claims that the media has not been entirely fair with men of the pen profession, they believe they're playing their role as a fourth estate of the realm of governance. Now, we're joined by public affairs analyst Odeyemi Oladimeji and journalist Olufemi Lawson, also a youth activist. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Now, we wouldn't be asking this question about the role of the media in the war against insurgency if this episodes had not happened. Now, it looks like the media is caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. How can media avoid being an unwitting accomplice in the war against insurgency? Let's start with you, Odeyemi.
Well, thank you very much. I think firstly, I have to use this medium to commend and salute the effort of the Nigerian military, particularly the Nigerian Army, in their war against insurgents in the northeast zone of the country. Particularly the capture of the operational headquarters of the dreaded Boko Haram said, that's the Sambisa force. I do have to give kudos and salute their courage and resilience. Well, to your question, it's not really the issue of the media versus the military now. I think it's a segment of the media. Because the Nigerian media has been a good partner, a willing partner in the fight against insurgents. But what we have on this issue is that deliberately an online newspaper is trying to undermine the effort of the military and its leadership in this war against insurgents. So that's what let us clearly define it.
Is that what it is? That they are trying to undermine the efforts of the military in the war?
Yes.
Or they're just reporting the facts or the truth as they see it?
It's not reporting. You see, military operations, army operations are not regular operations on our day-to-day daily activities. There are some information for national interest that what army was simply saying to Premium Times in this case, because I'm trying to fight the case of Premium Times like that.
Yes.
Try and verify issues from us before you report to the public. Now, let me start an example. immediately there is a bomb or isolated incidents, premium time rush to the media to publicize it. Why the premium time doesn't give that kind of premium premium coverage to the activities of the Nigerian army. So that means you are giving those insurgents, those terrorist groups, a form of leverage. And now, if you have a penchant for accusing the leadership of the army on frivolous issues, somebody that is in a war front, and you are establishing allegation, further allegation against him, then you are deliberately distracting him.
All right. I think because we have to get these things very clear. We had the editor-in-chief of the Premium Times here before, and he said that whatever they had reported, they had evidence, they had proof about it, and in fact, some of the reports came from one of the complaints of the military. One of the reports came from a press briefing of the Nigerian military. So when you have a case like that, how do you handle it? I
think if you have taken your time to read the letter from the Nigerian army to Premium Times, what they said in the content of the letter that try and verify issues from us before you publicize, which is very simple. Now, another part of the letter is the allegation against the chief of army staff by Premium Times that the man abused his office. There's a case in code of conduct.
Allegation on whose part? Now let's bring you in, Oluwafemi. Is this what has happened between Premium Times and the Nigerian military is not really what we're focusing on now, but the role of the media in general. But maybe you want to narrow it down on the issue of the Premium Times, since it's talked about that and the letter that was, that emanated from the Nigerian military claiming that Premium Times did not verify before they went out. But Premium Times, on the other hand, is saying, of course we did.
Well, I think fundamentally we must correct an impression that there's, this breach of trust and relationship between the media and the security agencies. As a media practitioner, I would want to say that no success can be recorded in the fight against insurgency or even in the course of securing any society without the active role of the media, because you talk about the role of the citizens in ensuring the security of any society, the mouthpiece of whatever security agency, and the instrument that is usually used to communicate to the people, especially what is expected of them as citizens, is still the media. The media is an institution that is critical not only to any democracy but to the survival of any society. So we cannot really, but I think we should narrow this down to those that have had issues with this. There are a lot of course, before the advent of the social media, we've had critical, major print organizations. We've had brilliant, television organizations like TVC, channeling, the cause of even the security agencies and the people. I would want us to not to generalize it, that there is a war between the media and the army. But on the other,
that's fair enough. Let me put you on hold. We'll go on a break and we'll come back for you to land on your point. Stay with us on TVC Breakfast. Let's go on a break and we'll be back. All right, if you're just joining us, you're watching TVC Breakfast, and right now we're discussing the role of the media in the fight against insurgency, and that's what we're talking about. We have with us in the studio Odeyemi Oladimeji. He is a security expert and an analyst. We also have Olufemi Lawson. He is a youth activist and an analyst joining us right now. Okay, now Lawson, you were making a point before we went on break.
So like I said, we should not narrow it, we should not narrow the role of the media to what has happened between Premium Times and the Nigerian army. Like I said, the media is critical, not only to the survival of any democracy, but to the survival of any society. But in this case, what we have on our hands has been one of those things that has been, the effect of the social media on, on reportage of news. And I want to say that a lot of times we want to equate, how we report news in situations like we have on our hands security situations to how we report the normal day-to-day news. All over the world, there is no way that news about insurgency, news about, we should not narrow the role of the media to what has happened between Premium Times and the Nigerian Army. Like I said, the media is critical, not only to the survival of any democracy, but to the survival of any society. But in this case, what we have on our hands has been one of those things that has been, the effect of the social media on, on reportage of news. And I want to say that a lot of times we want to equate, how we report news in situations like we have on our hands, security situations, to how we report the normal day-to-day news. All over the world, there is no way that news about insurgency, news about military operations, news about security issues are reported the normal, market square way. These are issues that has direct and indirect, impact on the morale, not of the people, but even on our men on the field. So we must be careful about our approach to reporting, issues when it comes to issues of security and issues of war against terrorism. Go to the United States or anywhere, we don't, unnecessarily hype the achievements, so to put it, of these insurgents at whatever time they strike. These are ways that they get, morally boosted, and they think they are.
So how do you rein in social media, for example? It's almost like an all-comers affair. Social media reporting in an anti-social manner. So how do you? I think that's the fundamental truth. The social media has been a very critical instrument also. It has been a very critical tool, particularly in the last couple of years, in mobilizing the people, in conscientizing them. But we cannot also, agree with the role of the social media without also pointing out the fact that there are a lot of wrongs that have also emanated from the instrument of the social media. And I think this conflict between the Nigerian Army, and the Premium Times is one of the products, of the speed at which the social media operate. These days I'm beginning to see it as a tool that does not really give so much room for investigative journalism like we had in the past. So I think these are areas where we may begin to have conflict or continue to have conflict between not just security agencies, between institutions of government, between private institutions and the media.
Okay, we'll come back to this. Now, as we get along on our discussion, let's bring out more facts on what we are talking about here. Now, the press or the media, depending on how you want to call it, is a vital part of any human society. Olufemi has established that earlier on. Now, it derives its powers to function from the Constitution. Now, the mass media in Nigeria, precisely, functions under the provision of Section 22 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Now, Section 22 of the Constitution grants the press the powers to act as a watchdog over the government by cutting the excesses through in-depth reports and ensure that they deliver on their promise to the people. Now, the provisions of the Constitution guides the behavioral conduct of journalists. Now, let's see some sections of the Constitution as it relates to media rights and freedom to give and receive information.
Yeah. Now, Section 22 of the Constitution says, and I quote now, "The press, radio, television, and other agencies of the mass media shall at all times be free to uphold the fundamental objectives contained in this chapter and uphold the responsibility and accountability of the government to the people," end of quote.
And Section 39, subsection 1 of the Constitution says, and I quote, "Every person shall be entitled to freedom of expression, including freedom to hold opinions and to receive and impart ideas and information without interference." I wonder if this is where this protects the social media, apart from the first Section 22 that we
can express themselves without interference. Without interference. Okay, we underline that and keep it. We have questions from there.
Now, Section 39, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution without prejudice to the generality of subsection 1 of this section, every person shall be entitled to own, establish, and operate any medium for the dissemination of information, ideas, and opinions. So there you go, gentlemen. The Constitution allows
all forms of persons and organizations to operate.
Well, all right. Now, let me come to you, Odeyemi, here. In all of this, there are sections of the Constitution that also talk when it comes to the issue of rights. There are also limitations in the expression of your rights, because where your right to express yourself, the right to do all that, where yours end is where the other person's own begin. But let us talk about the issue of fairness in here. Put it point blank, has the media been fair in the reportage of Insurgency?
Yes, the media has been fair. You know, in my first query, I told you that the issue here is quietly different from the media against the military. It's just premium times against the Nigerian army. The media has been fair. The media has been a good partner. They has been a progressive partner with the Nigerian Security Agency in the fight against terror and in all their activities. The media has been fair.
But you know, when you talk about Premium Times, they're not the only online media organization. There's so many others, Sahara Reporters and all the rest of them. I want us to avoid, you know, narrowing it down to between Premium Times and the Nigerian military. Like we said earlier, and we have established, it is about the media and its activities, especially in reporting insurgency. So now, how can media report the activities without being used to sell terrorist ideologies, for example? Olufemi.
Well, fundamentally, the media, like I said, is the link between the people and any institution, be it private or public. Whoever is interested in reaching out to the people must recognize the critical role of the media. And the way I think the media can partner with the security agencies to, you know, enhance the war against insurgency is to ensure that, you know, we make reports that are, you know, that celebrate the achievement of our security agencies. We elevate it often above. Of course, we cannot, you know, we cannot practically be hypocritical or downplay whatever, you know, activities of the insurgents are, particularly when we need to put our people on alert and get them conscious of whatever is happening.
But does the media understand very well its role as when it comes to this particular
Some
issue?
understand, but a lot of media organizations today do not really understand, you know, the essence of their role in this, you know, in this particular situation. A lot of them think it is enough news to make a headline when you say, you know, a military barrack has been invaded by terrorists, our soldiers have been killed, and all ammunition have been seized. A lot of organizations think it is, you know, it is a good headline. But I think if you look at it on the morale of the people on the field, who while we're sleeping, you know, are there awake, watching over our territories, watching over the lives and property of our people, you know that we are not, you know, doing what is right to their morale. We are not helping the war. And I think it is fundamental that we downplay whatever, you know, progress, as I may put it, these elements are making. You know, we should elevate.
All right,
you know, the achievements
let me bring in Odeyemi on
above,
that. Let me bring Odeyemi on that. In the situation where insurgents sometimes, or maybe, let's create a scenario, they attack a police station or a military barracks and they kill and then take away ammunition, and the media gets hold of that information. Are you saying that it shouldn't be reported?
No, that's not what we are saying.
Okay.
No, look at each military formation. They have spokesmen, and these people are accessible. What the media needs to do that, get in contact with the relevant agency and their PR department. That you have this news. Can it be here now? You know, sometimes you can suspend some news. We are not saying you should not report it. You can suspend it for the meantime till maybe the military are trying to launch a counter attack back on the. So what we are saying is that there's a way the media can collaborate and partner with security agencies. So we are not saying they should not report news, but we are saying that try and make verification. Let them work as partners. They are not adversaries. So that's our advocacy, that's our advice, that the media should see themselves as equal partners in nation building.
Yeah, but then you have the issue of the papers or media organizations wanting to be there first. And that's another...
Even there are even times where the media will get a story and then you reach out to spokesperson, you can't get them and all of that. And how long would you wait when you don't get... But we'll come back to that. Let's bring in Foladele in here to give us a perspective on social media, how Nigerians are reacting to the way media has been reporting.
Of media. So
yeah, exactly.
Very important. Hi again, Mike and Ngozi. Good morning, Olufemi. Yes, and Odeyemi. Thank you for joining us this morning. All right, so I should let you know that there's a strong focus on Southern Kaduna, on Fulani herdsmen, on killings, on the way media reports, all these things, not just Boko Haram and the military. All right, so let's see some of these reactions that I'm talking about. Benga says, the way media portrayed this Southern Kaduna issue is inciting all the while. There's no Muslim killing Christian. The two are fighting a war. Dr. FT Akade says, more terrible atrocities than what we saw in Southern Kaduna have taken place against people. But the people and media are silent till date. Why? Are we really silent? We've been talking about it.
It's a big question.
Adele Olumide says, it's really sad that the media and the people of Nigeria make the killing in Southern Kaduna look normal. There's really nothing normal. CD says, I don't think we really understand what is going on in Southern Kaduna. What I see is the media narrative. Benga Olorunpomi says, I just knew the media blitz on Southern Kaduna was exaggerated. Both my parents live there. Neither even called me out of fear. Aremu Sunday says, Fulani headsmen, #terrorism, is a far bigger problem in Nigeria than the media lets on. God is the greatest says, I've tweeted this before. The Nigerian media barely covers terrorism in the country.
Okay, so
different views.
All right, before we go into all of that, before Foladele asks her question, let's go on a quick break and return with more. Stay with us.
Right, if you're just joining us, you're watching TVC Breakfast. We've been looking at the role of the media in reporting insurgency and collaborating with the military and other security agencies in Nigeria. And we have with us Odeyemi Oladimeji, security expert and an analyst and also an activist joining us. And we also have Olufemi Lawson, he's a youth activist, a journalist and an analyst.
And you have me.
And I have Foladele standing by me here, and the floor is yours. You just finished using my wall.
Yes, I just finished using your wall. Yeah. I did want to ask, and of course, any of you gentlemen can feel free to take this one. So, I mean, you have people saying, oh, the media isn't doing enough to cover these stories. But you have other people saying, oh, there's the media, it's the media angle. It's not really what it seems. How does the media really win?
You see, as I said before, that most of these things are highly politicized. I know this insurgent, they thrive on propaganda. Most of these tweets are from faceless people. So it might not, generally cannot say it's the mood and feelings of the vast majority of Nigerians. That's why in the war against terror, that's why I said we must be very careful. Some detractors, some saboteurs will deliberately use instruments of propaganda and blackmails. So the media has been well involved in this war against terror and insurgents. It's not only war against terror and insurgents. The media has been critical partner in all aggression against Nigeria, whether internal or external. And I know that before this democracy, the Nigerian media play a huge role in bringing this democracy to Nigeria. So we must salute the media, and the media has always been playing its rightful role. But when it comes to this kind of issue, terrorists, insurgents, they thrive on propaganda and blackmails. So they are trying to dampen the morale of the media. Likewise, some people are trying to dampen the morale of the military. So that we must all come together. There's this saying that eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. This is the time that Nigerians must come together in unity, support our armed forces, support the media against this war that initially was about to consume Nigeria, but thank God for the gallant effort of the military, we were able to get all our lost territories back. So we must work together as Nigerians, and we must try to eradicate this mutual suspicion.
So no group is more patriotic than the other.
Yeah,
The media is as patriotic
as
as
the
the military.
Yes.
All right.
Actually, before I go,
Yes.
also, Lufemi, how do you think we can tackle the issue of trust for the media? Let me give you an example. If someone watched a news story on a TV station in the States, the popular one that we all know, versus watching a story in on a news station in Nigeria, you would probably believe that one more than you would the Nigerian one. Why don't people trust the Nigerian media?
It's because over the time, there was a time in this country when our media organizations were authorities. They were institutions that only very few even listen or watch the international media. But we got to a stage where the media got so bad at a stage that it became a thing of everybody. Investigation left. We lost investigative journalism, and somebody can just wake up from the corner of his bed space, and put up something on the social media or on the front page, and it's already a news. So until we go back to the tradition, the ethical way that Nigerian media got to that glorious height, I think naturally people will migrate back and have cause to believe or depend on our local media organizations as source of credibility.
Will it also include setting aside the perspective of those who run the media or who actually own it? Because you cannot discountenance that particular aspect.
We cannot totally do that, but media ethics and professionalism, must be elevated
above every other consideration.
And with that, we'll get it right.
All right, Fola, thank you.
See you soon.
I guess I'll see you again.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Now,
All right.
Odeyemi or Lajimiji, thank you very much for coming on the program. And Olufemi Lawson, thank you for joining us on the program as well. Thank you. All right, stay with us on TVC Breakfast. We'll bring you our next topic shortly.